All right, let's get this party started. Make sure I hit the right button. All right. Those in the know should know what week it is. Do you know what week it is, Michael Dean?
Week 6.
Week 6, because we are playing Madhouse 6 in
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, Michael.
I needed this right here.
All right, let's vibe out for just a hot second. It's such a great song. And for those of you who don't know, we are playing Madhouse 6. I don't know if you can see that, but End of the World mix got too much plastic. All right, let's get our howdies ready. Oh, it's about to go into. I like these simple lines. Okay, so first in the chat is April from
April.
Andre, Detroit is in the house. What up, though? We got the ATL in the house. Cassandra, welcome, as always. And we got a hey, Cassandra, it's Karen. Love this. Purple Saints from the ATL, Atlanta. We got Carol Lee from
Budapest. I say we hitting in Budapest.
We got Realign the DJ that has changed their profile from Ice Cream Castles to Romance 1600. Love that. Welcome, Christina from Minneapolis. We always got to have Minneapolis in the house.
Yeah.
Good morning, Prince Podcast.
I was in the chat room early, chopping it up.
I appreciate that. All right, we got Nick Feldon in the house. We got Lee Christian. I love this. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and
girl.
Yes. All right, we got Purple Cat Confetti. Snowy Denver says, hey, purple power to everyone. Good morning, Mila, my heart. My timekeeper is here, Kim. Happy Saturday, y'all. And you actually were in the chat last week. I'm so like I'm getting a senior moment sometimes. We got Shalimar, hello from Michigan. We got my alliterative brother, Blade Brown. We got Drea Dances, Love 6, got the Trolling Girls. We got Chris Bournay, Columbus, Ohio, in the house representing my fam that's in Columbus, Ohio. I appreciate that. I got some really special people in Columbus, Ohio. We got Tanja.
All through the night.
Yeah. Yes, a great song to start the morning with. We are playing. Where did I put it? For those who are just joining us at House 6, the End of the World mix, because we got to do something special. Yeah, shots.
I don't know what that was like. I wonder what was the end of the world, like end of the world, and we're just kind of. I wonder what that meant.
He was pulling also a lot from the Godfather movies with some of the audio snippets. So the guns also might be from Godfather as well. We got El Dabara in the house. We got JJ Loves Prince. Hey, y'all. We got TP in the house. Happy Saturday. I've never seen RTL 49, so thank you so much for being here. Welcome, Sidnick Productions. We got Audria. Trying to say Audra and ATL at the same time. That doesn't work. Audra, welcome. C. Lee, I was driving in my mother's ride on my way to the grocery store the first time I heard 6 and immediately knew it was Prince. Love that. But I couldn't jam too much because my mama needed the cornmeal. Love. Oh, you gotta love Celie. Oh my God. Bird chirping.
Yeah, I guess it was the end of the world. It was like everybody else.
Yeah. All right. We got Brian from Australia. We so appreciate you being here. We got
Hey,
Man Ray 10. Happy ooh wee chihuahua. I'm the one that you ooh. All right. And we got Chris Bournet. Yes, I have very special people in Columbus. My aunt and her whole clan. Blade Brown, conflicted about a madhouse. All right, we had to make sure we got Vanity in there. Yes, it is very hilarious. I love the use of that sample. It's from Vibrator, for those of you who don't know. It's the song that kept on giving and giving and giving. All right, so Blade Brown says, conflicted about a madhouse re-release. I want to keep hearing these songs as our intro. Yeah, thank you. Oh, right. Yeah, that would mess things up. So I hear you, Blade Brown, because we got to wake up. Welcome, Stone Freak. Good afternoon from the ATL. We got Anisha and Godfather Moves, which is why he chose the name Apollonia for his Purple Rain co-star. That is correct, because Apollonia is from The Godfather. Thank you so much, Chris. We got Stone Freak, and they tried to take advantage of her. I love that. Yeah. All right. And then I love this comment from Kim Lee's Country Crumbs. And Lucretia, that's the end of the world. Bombs dropping. We got Sakari here live because sometimes Sakari isn't able to join us live. So thank you for being here.
Sakari, that's a dope name.
It is a dope name. I love it. It has a really nice ring. Sakari. And 10 is coming, Stone Freak, because we're only 4 weeks away from week 10 of What Did Prince Do This Week. But right now we are at week 6 of What Did Prince Do This Week. Let's put it out there. I think we want a Madhouse re-release. It needs one.
You think?
I think so. A Madhouse box set would be really fantastic.
Yeah, like now, not to be promoting bootlegs because I don't, but I've seen some pictures of there's some sort of Madhouse vinyl thing. I'm like, wow. You know, it's funny. Well, it has even like the little fake covers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was like, people going all out for Madhouse, man. They need to go ahead and put that out.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you so much, Stone Freak. Yes, it was a really great suggestion. I listened to you guys, so make more suggestions. Yes, Tanja. I also would love to have a complete box set, also with 24. To be honest, also with Times Square, because technically that, I mean, then the live footage, all the videos.
Just imagine a young Prince and they were doing box sets. And it was like a Apollonia Vanity box set. Well, you know, the young Prince mind would have went crazy with that wording. Like, a box set. Yeah, I know how to package that. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Some of y'all got that. You know, there's a little much, but.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. My name gets mispronounced a lot. We want to go into that. All right, because we got to do some housekeeping. So let me see if I know how to use StreamYard. We are week 6 of What Did Prince Do This Week. In 1984, this is our second year for those of you who may be first joining us. It is a very slow read of Duane Tudahl's Prince Studio Sessions book series through an interactive being key weekly online book Book Club and Saturday Salon, echoing the spirit of the Harlem Renaissance. We are here every Saturday at noon Eastern Time, and you can see the schedule of what we're reading at bookclub.polishedsolid.com/schedule. We are going week to week, not date to date. You can follow the detailed schedule again, either at this bit.ly link, QR code, or the URL. You do not need the expanded edition. Let's see how awake Michael D is.
Cue it up.
Yeah. All right. I haven't heard this. Have you heard anything about this? It's true that the Diamond and Pearl box set isn't doing well. I thought it was doing well.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, I haven't.
They don't really be releasing numbers like that these days, so I don't.
Yeah, they don't, because to be honest, if you really want to know, I want to know how many copies were released of the 1999 Deluxe. I want to know how many copies were released of the Sun and the Times Deluxe. I want to know how many copies were released of the Diamonds and Pearls, and how many were sold. That's what I want to know. And so, but I haven't heard anything like this. Where is this coming from, Stone Freak?
I want to know. Is that Joe or something?
I think so, yeah.
How many copies were sold?
And also, I love this Chris Bournet Vanity 6 Apollonia 6 box set would also be doped, especially if it was wrapped in lace. That's what I'm talking about, Chris Bournet. Put those ideas out in the universe. And then Brian is saying, I have a Madhouse 24 CD and cover that never existed. I do not ask questions. Okay. Oh, I love this Chocolata box set. All right. And Byron B, I'm sorry I missed you. And I just got to do it. All right, I didn't do that on purpose.
With a little bit of computer.
I hit two buttons at the same time. Okay, that was kind of hot. All right. Yeah. I didn't. Okay. Let's see what Lee Christian's talking about. You don't have to be rich to be in this club. You don't have to be cool to read this book. You just need some extra time in your reading glasses. Love that, Lee Christian. You are the best. And let's see. Stone Freak is saying, I saw it on one of the Prince pages. Hope it's a bad rumor. I'm sure it's a bad rumor. I don't believe what's out on the interwebs. Yeah, it's hard to do that these days. Diamonds and Pearl Super Deluxe Edition CD version sold out on pre-order here in Australia. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And yes, we definitely need those reading glasses. I know that I do. All right. So we're reading an expanded edition, and these will be archived at Polish Solid as well as at MDean. And please subscribe, like, and help spread the word, spread the Prince gospel, especially of the 40th year of Purple Rain. And we're reading about Purple Rain. And yeah. All right. And let's see what else is going on here in the chat. I would not be surprised if the Diamonds and Pearls box set didn't do quite well as Purple Rain and Sign of Times, which is what folks will be measuring by. I don't know. I think Diamonds and Pearls, oh my God, I don't know these people. Is it Shannon Sharp? There was a clip this week from a guy named Shannon Sharp.
I heard something about this.
Yeah, and he was going through like the songs he was really, stoked about, and it was the other guy. And I apologize. I don't know if they're sports related. I don't know them. But what I found fascinating is that the guy who said that he would only know a Prince song if he heard it. Like he really didn't know the names of the songs. He kept singing Diamonds and Pearls. So, I mean, obviously Diamonds and Pearls is one of Prince's best-selling albums of all time. So I'm sure it did well. I don't know that to be true. I would think it would do. I mean, there was really good, I thought, pretty good promotion behind it.
Only thing I could say is it doesn't seem like there's a lot of follow-up after the release of it, but
has there been with any previous release?
Well, what I mean by that is like one thing I was looking to see, where are the community reviews? I haven't seen a lot of reviews of it, which is what I was kind of like, that seems kind of odd to me, because there's a lot of conversation after the fact of some of the other ones. But I mean, I'm not one to judge by sales either. It got released, we own it, So that was great. Like I'm ready for the next one.
Okay. And Mila is saying, I feel like the estate, Paisley Park Enterprises, whoever the powers that be are named, moved on too fast from the Diamonds and Pearl release to get to Purple Rain stuff. Now, I will say that Glam Slam 92 Live is the creme de la creme. And I don't know this to be true. Just reading between the lines, I think whatever's going on with the Netflix documentary and the hold on the videos, if that could have been released in the theaters like they did Taylor Swift and Beyonce's Renaissance tour, I think that would have sold them out like hotcakes. But I don't know. I'm just reading between the lines because of this Netflix deal. I know they have a hold on a lot of Prince live video. And I'm just happy we were able to get that Glam Slam show. So
yeah,
it's one of the best filmed live performances of Prince I have ever seen. And it also changed my relationship completely with the Diamonds and Pearls album.
Yeah, they should put that out separately. That would be the only thing I would say. It could be its own release. I don't think that's the only thing. I think the general public needs to have an opportunity to see that. I don't think they'll buy the box set to get it, but if they were able to say that, hey, you could buy this by itself, I think people would buy it. Or put it on a streaming thing or something.
Yeah.
It's fabulous. Yeah.
I'm curious, Byron B., why did you not buy Diamonds and Pearls since you bought the other releases? And JJ loves Prince, has agreed about the Glam Slam show. Really wish more live shows would be released. I'm totally with you there. JJ loves Prince. And Seeley is schooling me because I am so sports illiterate. He is a Hall of Fame football player and not someone I think highly of. But yes, he and Ocho gave their top 5, their top Prince songs. And I won't say the rest. And then let's see, Christina saying, speaking of Beyonce, does anyone realize that she uses his guitar amps and Don't Hurt Yourself from his song? Shh. I like Beyonce. I think she's a fantastic singer. I just don't listen to Beyonce. I loved her first album. But
first album, dope.
Yeah, it's because, Pharrell had a hand in that, and I'm a huge Pharrell fan. And she's amazing. But there's only so many hours in the day, and Prince takes up most of my listening pleasure, but not all of it. And yeah, Glam Slam, in my opinion, is personally worth the price of the box set. That Glam Slam show, that's my personal opinion. You can have your own. I think it's a very fan-oriented release, which I'm personally very happy about. And Blade Brown is saying legacy releases are by default held at a completely different standard number-wise, especially when the artist isn't present to promote it. Stone Freak is saying Jughead was fire live. Everything was fire on that show, in my personal opinion. And my relationship to Thunder changed because of that show. Let's see. And Randy is saying, Shannon, hi Randy. Shannon Sharp is valid. He's a Parade and Sound of Time's head. He started singing Do You Lie and Ballad of Dorothy Parker. He can come to the cookout. All right. And I don't doubt it that Lemonade is a fantastic record. I'm sure all of her records are fantastic. It's just that right now I'm in Prince and Andre 3000 world. That's where I'm living. And Byron B said, not interested. I just streamed Diamonds and Pearls on Tidal. All right. And then let's see. Stone Freak, Work That Fat. It's now my least favorite Prince song after the Diamonds and Pearls set dropped.
Interesting.
Okay.
I think when some of these songs come out that some hardcore fans have always been listening to over all these years, and then it finally sort of is released to the public, I can see how that may take away a little bit of maybe it's the mystique of like, oh, I had this, and it was like a secret type of thing, and now it's like it's not a secret. I can see how for some people that may, but I don't know. I can understand that, but to me, it's like, man, you get to hear the song full on,
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want, the highest audio quality possible of all Prince songs. I don't care what songs they are. That's what I love. And I really love this comment from Chris Bournet. Chris says, the only reason I bought the physical Diamonds and Pearls box set is because D'Angelo said we should vote with our dollars to the estate to release more product. Otherwise, I would have streamed it. I think this is a really important comment. You have to vote with your dollars. If we don't buy these box sets, why should they put them out? And as long as I live, I personally want to continue to have new Prince music, also remastered Prince music. And if we don't buy it, they're not going to put it out. So if you're able to, I mean, obviously everyone isn't able to buy it, but if you are able, I personally think that you should produce it. I mean, like when Prince was alive, I didn't wait to hear what the album was like on day one. Whenever it was released, I went to the record store and I bought it every single time. And so since he's no longer with us, I want his legacy to continue. I'm only one person doing my little thing, but it takes a nation of millions, and we just got to vote with our dollars. That's my personal opinion, but obviously you can have a different opinion. And Brian said, I actually watched a Glam Slam show for the first time.
Uh-huh.
For the first time tonight. I watched, or last night or tonight. Let me know. And then let's see. All right. Mila, that could be right for that Beyonce song. Jack White was involved with that song, and wasn't he trying to make that Camille album happen? Yeah, I think so. I don't know really what was going on. There was another comment connected to that, which I cannot find, but that's okay because there's so many comments. It made me like Jughead for the first time. Box set is amazing. Side eye again. I don't know, Shannon.
Club Shay Shay.
Yes, going to see Andre 3000 in a few weeks in Atlanta. That's what I'm talking about. I saw him on Tuesday at a church in Brooklyn. It was incredible. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. Yeah, stop gatekeeping purple music. Well, we talked about this last week. Basically, I said the same thing. I feel like Prince's narrative in the documentary wasn't finished when they didn't just mention that he actually had not only a song, and a beautiful song at that, but also a video. I thought the documentary was amazing until the very end, when it said in loving memory or whatever, and I don't know what it said, and Prince wasn't listed. I was really upset by that. And I still am. So you want to put in bad memory? I don't care. Put in bad memory, but still put Prince's name, because he's a human being who touched so many people, and he deserved his death deserves to be recognized in a doc where they keep talking about him. That's just my personal opinion. But I'm pretty heated about it, if you haven't noticed. But other than that, it's a really great documentary, except they didn't finish Prince's narrative. All right. Yes, love that. New Blue Sun is what it's all about. Yeah. Stone Freak, you don't want to know how many times I voted. I voted a lot. I bought box sets for my mom, for my cousins, for my uncles, all as gifts. So yeah, I bought a lot, and that's not even beginning. All right. Let's see. Have the Diamonds and Pearls box set, 1990. I'm glad we're talking about the Diamonds and Pearls box set, just to remind people that it was released, and that it is. I thought it was a really awesome release. Again, Glam Slam. Also, Chris James really did a fantastic job with the Atmos mix. If you haven't heard the Atmos mix of the Diamonds and Pearls album, it's pretty spectacular. And let's see. This is funny, Mila. I picture Andre concerts where everyone is sitting on their yoga mats, sipping herbal tea, probably will be a very relaxing experience. You know what? What was interesting is that they made us use those Yonder bags, and I wouldn't have known about the Yonder bags if I hadn't been going to Paisley Park. But they basically had us lock up our phones in these Yonder bags so we couldn't record or take any photos or videos. And I thought that was cool. So we could just concentrate on Andre and his phenomenal band, which also includes Carlos Nino, who is a legend in his own right. And let's see.
Did he say anything?
Yeah, he talked, in between songs. It was really cool, really chill. Love the lighting. He had these really amazing lights that I was just fascinated by these lights. So there were 8 lights. They were like, I have a photo later in the deck, but I don't think it includes the lights. But they're basically stacked like it's like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And either the rim could be a different color than the center. And then the rim of the lights could break off into 4s to animate. It was crazy. Because he pretty much performed in the dark, except for these lights. So there was never really like a spotlight. So you really couldn't see him. You just really more so see his silhouette and all of that. So see,
drop a verse at the end or something like.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. Unless maybe, he's playing Atlanta soon. Maybe he would do it for Atlanta. If he doesn't do it for Atlanta, I don't think he's going to do it for anybody. Because I will say this, I don't know if anybody remembers when the Dungeon Family appeared in One Fest in Atlanta, and originally Andre was on the ticket, and then they removed his name. And then on the night of the show, when he came out on stage, because people didn't think he was coming, I have never heard a wall of sound that loud. It was incredible. And then T.I. was there. Like, so many people were at this show. It was like amazing. It's one of my favorite concerts that I've ever been into. This is pretty funny. A Big Boy Glockenspiel album that would be.
What is Glockenspiel? I don't even know.
It's like some crazy instrument. So, yeah. So it's actually on pre-order. You can order the CD and the vinyl. Just go to a myriadofpyramids.com. That is his website right now. And look, okay, Andre is checking Mr. Dean.
No, we have not.
See?
Not to say that we won't, but.
Yep. Oh no. That is, I want to clutch my pearls on that. You should try to figure out if you can get a replacement. That Blu-ray has got to play. Thank you so much for catching us live, Thomas. I really do appreciate it. We've got on a Diamonds and Pearls tangent, but we're going to get back on. It's okay. And yeah, I got Andre is playing in Atlanta. I have the dates in the slide deck. You can find the slide deck on the website for our book club. But if you hang out with us, you'll see it later in the slide deck. And let's see. Yeah. Imagine all the mini heart attacks and twitching from people in the audience forgetting they gave up their phones and they're not in their pockets. Yep. All right. So let's get started. We haven't even gotten through housekeeping yet. All right. So if you want to talk to us, reach out to us by using this hashtag. This is really important because I'm not on social media like I was before, and I wasn't even really on social media before. So now I'm really not really on social media. So hashtag WDPDTW for What Did Prince Do This Week? Or you can email us at WDPDTW@gmail.com. And what is Kim saying? What? Kim saying my Blu-ray wouldn't play at one friend's, but did at another. Okay, that's good to know. So whoever's having problems with your Blu-ray, just try to play it in a different Blu-ray player. And
I'd imagine most people's Blu-ray players are probably hella old.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. All right. And we'll just skip through that. This is an independent production. The estate of Prince Rogers Nelson is not affiliated, associated, or connected with the What Did Prince Do This Week book club series. So it's not official. We played 6 in the World mix from Madhouse 8, which is the album. And we are finally at week 6 of What Did Prince Do This Week? So what did Prince do this week? He recorded 5 songs total, and he had 7 studio visits total. Let's look at our calendar. So on Sunday, we had a little vocal overdubs of Manic Monday, and we had skits from the Apollonia 6 album, and there was one of my favorite songs from the Apollonia 6 project, Ooh, She Chihuahua, with Susan on lead, basic tracking for that. Then the album was compiled on Monday. Then we got God on Tuesday. We got Father's Song on Tuesday. Can you imagine like recording both God and Father's Song on the same day? And then we also had Lisa and Wendy's Purple Rain instrumental, you know, that's played throughout the film, like on the cassette and everything. And on Wednesday, we have overdubs of Glamorous Life. And if you know your film, Purple Rain, when Prince and when the kid and Apollonia are in the basement and there's that moaning that's backwards and Prince is doing that stuff with his hands, that was recorded on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we had a mix of Glamorous Life. On Friday, we had basic tracking and Prince vocals of the Belle St. Mark. Would love to hear the Prince vocals of the Belle St. Mark on an Originals 2. I'm still trying to put that out in the universe. Originals 2, 3, and 4, however many we need. I would love to make that a series. And then one of my favorite songs of all time, Shortberry Strawcake, and that was on Saturday. This was an amazing week in Prince World in 1984. Don't you think, Michael Dean?
Oh, he was on fire. I mean, he's been on fire for the last couple of weeks, but yeah, I mean, he's just continuing to turn out, you know, great material every day, you know, being motivated. It's amazing to see.
Yeah. Hi, Dan. Thanks for being here. And yes, we're going to talk about this later. A lot of Prince stuff at the Grammys. And yes, I love this Show Enough shows. Originals 2. We got to have it. All right. So let's get started. But before we do, for those of you who may not have been with us last week, we talked about Take Me With You, Some Kind of Lover, A Million Miles. Hopefully you guys been listening to A Million Miles since last week. And hopefully now it's your new favorite song because it's an amazing song. And then In a Spanish Villa. And we also talked about Manic Monday. And I love this. JJ loves Prince. The kid was in rare form this week. Love that. Yeah. Let's see. And then Kenya is saying, wish the engineer who masters the CDs for Prince Legacy would make them hot, not 80s mastering. Okay. And we always got to say, working it like a job.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. We're about to start our reading. And I'll get started first. And we're going to talk about Manic Monday some more. And Ooh, She Chihuahua. All right. We're going to turn to page 254. Let me make sure I get my tea because my voice is not acting right today.
I always say, take your tea for breakfast, sing along, or read along with me. Are you ready?
Everybody. Okay. Manic Monday. Oh, sorry. Sunday, February 5th, 1984. Manic Monday. Various vocal overdubs. Apollonia 6. Album segues. Skits. Ooh, She Chihuahua, basic tracking. Sunset Sound, Studio 2, 2 p.m. to 3:30 a.m. Booked, locked out. Producer Prince, artist Apollonia 6. Engineer Prince, assistant engineer Peggy Mac McCreary. All right, this is from Alan Lee's quote for this. Often when he would do those template vocals, God vocals for someone else to come along and copy them, he would then erase his vocal track. What? So in many of these cases, the vocals no longer exist on the tapes. He'd permanently erase his vocal pass. This is not good for some of these songs. Okay.
Well, you can only hope that maybe there were cassette tapes made of his.
Yeah.
You can always use those. You know.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Okay. I was having a heart attack for no reason. You're absolutely right. Okay. The day started with Apollonia and Brenda Bennett recording their vocals, and the mood among them was amazingly optimistic. Even the lyrics reflected the uplifted attitude of the day. I wish it was Sunday. That's my fun day. And the studio was filled with the vibe that the song had huge potential to be a hit. And a hit it became, in case you guys did not know, because we are talking about Manic Monday. The track also took the group in a direction that was different from the overtly sexual music of Vanity 6. And this is Brenda speaking. When it came to the studio and the vocal parts on it, we did it in a way that was very comfortable and we enjoyed doing it. It was something that could be played out there where there wouldn't be any controversy around it, which was something that I wanted us to get away from. We started out such a controversial thing, and we're the stepping stone for a lot of girls that came after us with any sexual connotations. Madonna, for example. We were so bad that we couldn't be in the mainstream of stuff.
Interesting.
Now, this is really important to understand in context of 1984. We're talking about 1984, and they were really pushing boundaries in this landscape. All right, before Madonna and all that. All right, not everyone was happy that the track wasn't going to be released by Prince. And this is Peggy McCreary. I was so upset that he gave that to Apollonia 6. Because he did it so great with his vocals. He never said why he did things like that. You just did what he told you. With all the members of the group in the studio, Prince decided to record a few skits for the record, some seemingly based on the previous night's visit to the club. Remember, last week we talked, Prince was looking for Susan and Brenda and discovered that they were dancing at a club. And then actually I was surprised that he went dancing with them, because I thought he would have dragged him back to the studio, but it didn't go over well with everyone. And this is Brenda. Prince kept saying that he didn't want any filler, but the part with us playing and laughing was filler as far as I was concerned. It was stupid. It was scripted right there on the spot. Prince was saying, think of something. Apollonia wanted to talk about her rabbit Smokey. And I came up with the spaceman thing, which is my favorite part of the skit, by the way. And the Neptune part. And he wanted Susan to be sleeping and to have a dream or something. Work was also done on Ooh, She Chihuahua, and a rare case on a song for Susan. Prince recorded the basic track and vocals. I want to hear Prince's version of Ooh, She Chihuahua. I really do. Because again, Makeup from Originals is my favorite song off of the Originals. So I'm sure Ooh, She Chihuahua would be my favorite if they did Originals too. In a rare case on a song for Susan, Prince recorded the basic tracks and vocals, then had Moosey Susan replace his vocals. Bennett remembers that Susan's songs were different than the other tracks because Prince gave her a lot of room to write her own lyrics. Her songs never had a guide vocal to it. She was really good at writing. She wrote poetry and she was very, very good, but she never wanted to submit anything to him, maybe once or twice, but not much as she could have. That is okay. So supposedly Ooh, She Chihuahua is a rare case of Prince recording the vocals, but also obviously he recorded the vocals for Makeup. So, and I don't know how many Susan songs there are in the vault. I want them all. And to be honest, I want all the Brenda songs as well. So let's see. Bennett also recalls how the mood in the studio had changed from earlier in the day. Susan and Prince were fighting. You can hear it in the song. Susan didn't really get loud when she got mad. You just knew it. And Bennett also added her vocals for the background. Once the rest of the group had left, Prince asked who? Jill Jones to add background vocals to the recently recorded tracks for Apollonia 6, including A Million Miles I Love You, Ooh, She Chihuahua, Some Kind of Lover, and Manic Monday. I'm going to read that again. Once the rest of the group had left, Prince asked Jill Jones to add background vocals to the recently recorded tracks for Apollonia 6, including A Million Miles, Ooh, She Chihuahua, Some Kind of Lover, and Manic Monday. Susan Melvoin was also recruited for background vocals on some of these tracks as well. As always, each singer was brought in separately to record her part. Separating the women, and all the elements used on any track were at Prince's discretion. The truth is, none of the girls would have ever really known, according to Jones. They wouldn't know what he was doing until you got the final mix. The last 4.5 hours of the session were spent on rough mixes and cassette copies. Ooh, Shisha Wah Wah, 2 minutes and 43 seconds was attached to one of the skits they'd recorded, and the song was released on the Apollonia 6 album.
And this is all in one day?
Yes.
I mean, let alone everything he's doing musically and, okay, bring this song in. Okay, I'm going to play these parts. Okay, I'm going to do your vocals. I'm going to produce you with your vocals. But then in his mind, he still has enough game where he's like, okay, y'all can go. Let me call up Jill. I need some solid vocals. They gone. She come in. Whoop, 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 do your stuff. Deal with her. Whoop, whoop. Okay, you got to go, baby boo. Let me call up Susanna. I mean, just the level that Prince's operate, man. I mean, not even the music is like scientifically logistic, but even just the personnel and the different attitudes. And he, okay, I need this out of you. In the same day, he arguing with one of the ladies, and she mad on the track, but then he still call up 2 other. Okay, yeah, come on in. So I mean, he's just like, and this is all, and plus this is a week of just recording every day. Like, man, this dude was, yeah, he was on another level with it, man.
So I guess we conjured up Scott McCullough because Scott, if you just get here, we were talking about the Glam Slam show for like the first 15, 20 minutes. So I guess you heard us speaking. Like there's like a side of connection. So yeah, we love the Glam Slam film. I think it's one of the, I said earlier on this very podcast, book club, whatever you want to call it, that it's one of the best filmed performances of Prince ever. And we have you to thank for it. Like the coverage of him on the bar, I don't know if you're still here, is incredible. I mean, and all the coverage, and the coverage of him, like putting on his clothes and all that, like a lot of people wouldn't have filmed that, but I really love that you got that coverage. So thank you, Scott. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, fantastic job. Yeah, we did a whole review on that.
Yeah, and we've been talking about it for months now, to be honest. It's the only thing I talk about when it comes to the Diamonds and Pearls box set, to be honest, because it is the best. R.C. Lee, that's not nice. Okay. Let's see. Andre, you are after my heart. Yes, 84 would have been an incredible year for Prince to give Jill Jones her shot. Could have given her Sugar Walls and Manic Monday. Would have been great because people would have seen her in Purple Rain. Yes. And yes, Glam Slam is the primary reason to get the sign on the Super Deluxe edition. Christina saying Glam Slam was worth the money. Thanks, Scott. Remember seeing the movie of Glam Slam when it came out. Okay, I don't know. Can you say a little bit more about that? Not following.
What you smoking on?
And let's see. That hairdo ruined that show for me. I loved Prince's hair.
Talking about the typhoon?
Yeah, the typhoon was kicking. What you talking about?
Oh, to really see it. That's the one thing too. This show, you really got to see his hair. Like, the curls was tight. Like, oh damn.
I love those tight.
Right out of this.
And they were tight the entire show. Yeah. I want to know
yeah, how they do that?
Like, I mean, that was incredible. I love those curls. I thought they were popping. So I love the typhoon. That's me. But yeah, we got a second person from Australia today. Welcome, Hoffler. Thank you so much for being here. And then let's see what Andre is saying. That synergy with Jill's appearance in Purple Rain. And yes, she is extremely talented. That's the reason why Jill was used by Prince on so many tracks. Jill is the glue that holds a lot of those tracks together when it comes to the background.
Jill's a trooper. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I love Kim Hairlacker. Okay. And Mila saying the typhoon is literally my favorite hairstyle of his. Love that. I do have a soft spot for Love Sexy. Love Sexy. Just because, it'd be flowing in the wind with the fans and everything. But I love the typhoon. Look, we got some typhoon lovers in here.
Now, real quick, we're gonna derail for a second.
Okay.
In the chat, y'all can do it. What are the top 3 hairstyles, the eras? You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I'm gonna just do it real quick. Christopher Tracy. I would say Love Sexy, but actually I would say the Prince's second album. Like that, to me, that was like, if you came in like that, you knew, and you was a dude, you know, you were, yeah, blowing. What you talking about? And back in the late 70s to do that, that's gangster. And then Sign of the Times, only because I like that era. But
and you like the ribbons in his hair?
Yeah, I just think that it's just some kind of weird, kind of funky hippie types of still, you know, you had the glasses where you were still kind of like, you know, I'm educated, you know what I'm saying? I'm a little smarter with it. I'm on my socially conscious, but I'm still sexy and still, you know, I'm balling. It was everything. It was hippie, balling, next level, you know, folk, all that. So, you know, but yeah, I'm kind of see what are yours? Like,
all right, let's look at a couple. So yes, the Hair on Prince album from Carol Brooks. RTL 49 is saying Love Sexy, Sign of Times, and Graffiti Bridge. And we got Nick Style saying Cherry Moon Hair was on point too.
Nick, what's up? That's my guy.
All right.
What up, Nick?
And we got KMS 1984. Love the Batman hair. And I love Tasha's response. All the hair movement. Love that. And let's see. The kid hairstyle was everything. All right. Love Sexy. Love Sexy. For sure. The J curl past shoulders. I had that style all the 80s. Okay. Parade. And JJ Loves Prince. Love Sexy / Nude Tour. Nude Tour. Amazing. Christopher Tracy. Raven to the Joy. Fantastic. Okay. Parade. He was fine. Joy. Fantastic. Emancipation. Okay. Real Liner DJ. You know, Real Liner DJ, I've always loved seeing you in the chat, but now I love you even more because one of my favorite hairstyles is Controversy because he didn't care. It's like, I love that hairstyle. That to me was like the rude boy.
Yeah,
oh my God, I love that.
That's what I call before the dough. Before the money kicked in.
But it was great. I loved it. I mean, it's literally probably my favorite hair that Prince ever had. And then let's see. That's a shout out to you, Michael Dean. Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting this. Love the gold era. Elfish look with the blunt bangs.
Hilarious.
And we got I like his rave into the hair, but I might be in the minority. The only one I've been able to mimic is Graffiti Bridge era when I was young.
Oh, wow.
Another Little Red Corvette video and musicology. Graffiti Bridge hair. Celia saying, that's why I'm going bald now. After all those years of using the creamy crack to duplicate the Typhoon and Prince dues. We got Parade, Sound of Times in 1999, Christopher Tracy. We know no one is going to say Raspberry Beret.
Woo! I remember seeing that for the first time. I was like,
yeah. And then we got Third Eye Blind. Love that. Raspberry Beret Parade. We got another. Diamonds and Pearls era Parade. No one is going to say Raspberry. Don't go someone on because they might just for the heck of it. Black males copy the Purple Rain hairstyle, even Rick James. And Kim said he didn't have a Jerry curl. That was a roller set, baby. That's right.
That's Kim. I wish I knew you back then so you could tell me that because we didn't know that. So we went and got Jerry curls and then tried to turn them into what Prince had, not understanding that it don't work like that, son.
It doesn't work. Oh, love this. Hoffler, the Willing and Able video. The scarf look was fire. The Parade era was top tier. That kitchen relaxer. Yes. KMS 1984. Rude boy punk style. That's what I'm talking about. His gold era fringe is cool. And let's see, SMS 130, 1999 / Purple Rain hair look. I love the specificity of this because SMS 130 is schooling us. Like some of these hair styles did sort of transition. And then we got the Typhoon Diamonds and Pearls, the symbol come look, and the Christopher Tracy, aka Under the Cherry Moon look, which I'm going to see tomorrow at Momi in Queens. All right. The fro in the end was cool. And another close number 3 for me would be the short brown haircut he had in the late 90s.
I always used to call that the Halle Berry, but was that just what was that, like a short crop or something?
Yeah, I think it was like a short crop.
Man, he trying to look like Haley from Strictly Business, but he made it his own.
Yeah. It says, Keith saying, is it true Prince had a wig on the Raspberry Beret video? It's possible.
I remember reading something about that. Didn't he he dyed his hair blonde or something and it fell out or something like that?
Yeah, it's possible. I love this. And then, can you say I had my hair like Raspberry in early 90s?
To me, I was like, that looked like Liza Minnelli or something. I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, and Kim saying y'all were just burning up y'all hair.
That's why it's going now.
And Andre, I love this one. Sometimes Love Sexy Super Bowl appearance. And okay. Alicia. Okay. There's a lot here. I see. Raspberry Boy look was dope. But so that's what I'm talking about, Thomas. And then let's see. The Control Live at the Fashion Awards thing is a great emo look. Loved rave hair. Yeah, he had a pixie cut.
And shout out to Kim Berry.
Yes, shout out to Kim.
That's
for sure. Let's see. Did he really? Celia is saying Prince called the Raspberry Beret hair Incredible Hulk hair, but the first time I saw it, I thought it was Liza Minnelli.
Yeah.
Deja's saying I don't know what he was thinking, trying to go blonde. And yeah, I heard this too, that Prince had a wig in some scenes in Purple Rain, not in Raspberry Beret. Let's see. There's so many comments. I can't put them all on here, so I'm going to have to, I might miss something. All right. And Jabbar is saying Prince never wore a wig, but I do think that he did wear a wig in Purple Rain. I remember reading that somewhere. Let's see.
Cats were wearing wigs.
Yeah. Someone has already, yes, a couple people have mentioned the afro in later years. You just maybe missed it. And all right, and I don't know this to be true. So if you say so, thanks for schooling us. Thank you, my timekeeper. And we haven't even gotten started. So let's get back to what did Prince do this week? Because we actually have a lot to cover, and we're just still on Sunday, and we're talking about 7 days of work. All right, so I didn't show this last week. I love seeing Prince's handwritten lyrics, and this is actually probably one of my favorite handwritten lyrics because one, he has like the lead line, like the notes and everything on here. I love that he has by Apollonia 6 and like all of his doodles and whatnot. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Again, you can find the slideshow on the homepage of our, let me pull it up if I can find it. So if you go here, bookclub.polysolid.com or bit.ly.com, you can see the slide deck that I show you. And if you click on anything, most of it, it will take you places. So don't sleep on the slideshow. Yeah, I also heard that too from Jesse, and let's see. All right. And then I also wanted to continue to promote Zach Hoskins' amazing blog because he writes a lot about Apollonia 6 in particular. And there's also a post on Ushi Chihuahua. And this is actually how I found out that there's a cover of Ushi Chihuahua by this band named Stax, which is actually really good. And I have it in our weekly playlist for this week. And for those of you who are new, there is an accompanying playlist on my YouTube channel where you can listen to a lot of the songs because I I love talking about these songs, but even more than that, it's better to listen to them. And the only reason why we're not listening to them is that we would probably stop the stream every single minute, and or later they have a cease and desist and all that kind of stuff. So that's the reason why we're not listening to the music. But at the end of the day, it's all about the music, and you should be listening to the music. So I hope that you are taking advantage of the accompanying playlists that are on my YouTube channel. You go all the way to the bottom. And thank you to Mignon Stewart for actually recommending that I do that. At first, I was like, oh, more work. But I realized how important it is to actually listen to the music. And one gem I found this today actually was Sheila E. does this phenomenal version of Shortberry Strawcake last year in Amsterdam. It is on fire. And I put that in the playlist, and I don't know who her bass player was, but he was on it. So I hope that you will take it for a spin. All right. So again, this is Zach Hoskins' blog, Dance, Music, Sex, Romance. Again, if you click on it, it'll take you there. And now we're going to talk about the compilation of the Apollonia 6 album. If you don't mind reading, Michael Dean, and when you get tired, let me know and I can take over.
All right. February 6th, 1984, Apollonia 6 album compiled. We got the song Sex Shooter, Take Me With You, Manic Monday, Some Kind of Lover, A Million Miles, I Love You. She got that Ushishiwawa in a Spanish villa, probably included but not verified. Sunset Sound Studio 2, 9 p.m. to 4:15 a.m. I love the specific time. Booked, locked out. Producer Prince, artist Apollonia 6, engineer Prince, assistant engineer Peggy McCrary. Quote from Susan Rogers: Prince loved sequencing albums. Considering the length of many of his recording sessions, tonight's was relatively brief. In 5 hours, he mixed, edited, and assembled the first compilation for the Apollonia 6 album. During that time, additional mixing was also done on Sex Shooter, and Prince likely added some of the remaining sound effects, including the sound effect of waves washing up on the beach during Some Kind of Lover, and the similar sounds on In a Spanish Villa. It is probable that Prince recorded the keyboards on A Million Miles, and that he also scored the multiple skits from yesterday's session. From start to finish, with the exception of Sex Shooter and Take Me With You, which was created for the movie, the album was recorded and assembled in less than a week. Damn. I think it was an easier record, says McCrary. Or McCurry. Am I saying her name wrong?
It's McCreary.
McCreary. Sorry, man. Because he had done it before Vanity 6 and Brenda and Susan had done it before, and Apollonia. He just slipped her into the mold. The prospects for a successful album were great, and almost everyone involved agreed that it had at least 2 hits, Sex Shooter and Manic Monday, as well as an attention-getting duet with Prince, Take Me With You. Man, that would be a kind of a dope album. As I'm thinking about it, that'd be interesting if that came out like that. Okay. Apollonia had not only replaced Vanity, she found a way to create her own identity while blending into Prince's vision of the group. By the time we recorded it, the whole thing just clicked, according to Susan Rogers. She sounded like an actress pretending to sing. This compilation starts with 2 movie tracks. Apollonia's lead vocals are on the first 3 songs, followed by 2 Brenda Bennett tracks, and 1 by Susan Munshi. It is uncertain whether In a Spanish Villa was included in this compilation. But if it wasn't, that means that side 1 was exclusively Apollonia and side 2 was exclusively Bennett and Munshi. It is more likely that In a Spanish Villa, that song is throwing me, was included to keep the voice of the band's namesake on both sides of the record. At this point, the concept of a bigger version of the 1999 tour, including Prince, The Time, and Apollonia 6, taking the place of Vanity 6, was being discussed. A lot would change in the following months. Okay, status. Two other updated but potential tracks from this era have surfaced. Take Me With You, Next Time Wipe the Lipstick Off Your Collar, A Million Miles I Love You, In a Spanish Villa, Some Kind of Lover, Sex Shooter, Velvet Kitty Cat, as well as Sex Shooter, Take Me With You, Manic Monday, A Million Miles I Love You, Violet Kitty Cat, Some Kind of Lover, In a Spanish Villa. While Prince was assembling an album, cassettes were created for listening purposes. And for many projects, Prince would throw songs together to see how they played in his car. It is unknown whether these track listings were basic assemblies for listening or for serious consideration. Velvet Kitty Cat would likely have had Susan Munshi's vocals on it since she had no other tracks on these compilations. When and if she recorded the vocals for Violet Kitty Cat is unknown. The water sound effects used at the end of Some Kind of Lover would be revisited by Prince during his Love Sexy.
All right. So a lot is in this little section here. I love seeing actually the previous track listings. And I was surprised to see Next Time Wipe the Lipstick Off Your Collar, which would obviously get on Sheila E.'s Glamorous Life.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like that song, Michael? Next Time?
I do. Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll talk about Sheila's album when it gets compiled, but I have problems with some of the song selections on Sheila's album.
Really?
Yeah, and that's one of them. I felt like, I'll say a little bit just so you kind of get a sense of where I'm coming from. So like the Belle of St. Mark and Next Time Wipe the Lipstick Off Your Collar, I feel are very, not the same tempo, but very close in tempo. And for me, they drag the album down. And with such high energy tracks as Glamorous Life and Shortberry Strawcake, and I'm talking about in real time, like for me, I had a problem. And I never understood, I don't know, we should talk about this later because we're going to talk about the Belle of St. Mark. Why Belle of St. Mark was actually chosen as a single. That's just me. It's my opinion. Obviously, you can disagree. So it was really interesting seeing Next Time Wipe the Lipstick Off Your Collar. I'm glad it didn't end up on Apollonia 6's album, because I remember you asked me last week which one I prefer. I so much prefer Apollonia 6 as an album over the Glamorous Life album by leaps and bounds. I mean, the Glamorous Life song is an instant classic. I think it's one of Prince's best songs that he has ever written, because every single time I've ever seen Sheila E. perform that live, it never gets old. It is like, and she uses it usually as like the apex of the concert. It just really is a great song. So I think he gave Sheila fantastic songs. I don't think that he gave Sheila fantastic albums. So like even with like Romance 1600, like Allah Bazaar is amazing. It's like one of the most amazing songs that he gave. And I just feel like the rest of the album doesn't live up to the gravitas of Allah Bazaar. And in this case, Glamorous Life, it doesn't live up to Glamorous Life, except for Shortberry Strawcake, because it's on fire, like Mariah. But that's just me. Okay. And Velvet Kitty Cat, I think, would not have also fit on. I don't hear anybody singing that. I mean, I don't hear Vanity. I don't hear Apollonia. I don't hear Susan. So that's just me.
To me, that would have been a cool B-side for the group.
I love that. Yeah, B-side. Yeah, I'll take it as a B-side. For sure. Let's see.
You know, looking at these songs though, and I'm happy the way they came out, the albums and everything, but these are such great songs to me. I think the trick was who could perform them the best. But I can understand why. Okay, but I still got to have a vehicle for this group, and then Sheila's got to be a vehicle for this. But there would have been, if there was a choice to just, it could only do one album or something. There's these songs on here on one album with the right person singing them or whatever would have been one of the greatest female or girl group, whoever. It would have been one of the dopest albums to come out of that camp, if they would have had the right performance in Manic Monday and back to right. Obviously, that song was going to be a hit. Glamorous Life, and this is Sex Shooter, Take Me With You, with a blue, whatever album was on it, Prince was on it. But yeah, it just goes to show he had fire material, ridiculously great material.
I can't remember who said this last week, so I apologize if I'm misattributing this comment from last week. I want to say it was Lee Christian, but it might not be Lee Christian. But someone said that the pairing of Take Me With You and Manic Monday felt right. And what's crazy is you can see in this track listing that they were literally back to back on the second track listing that we see. So it was Sex Shooter, Take Me With You, and Manic Monday. And I really do think that you're onto something, Michael. Like if the right vocalist gave the right vocal performance, especially the second one, I think, because I really do think that Sex Shooter should lead the album. And so it's leading, and then it follows up with Take Me With You, then Manic Monday.
See, I would have been in his ear to say, dude, Glamorous Life. This should all be this one, like whoever it is, like Glamorous Life, you'd come out the gate. You could do Sex Shooter, any of these, these, you got so many burners. Like you could have made this just a one banger.
I see what you're saying.
Almost even made them a group. Maybe the group would have been Sheila, Jill.
Oh wow, I love that idea.
Brenda, whatever. Crazy. It would have been a female time.
Ooh.
It would have blew.
Look at Michael Dean conjuring up. Can you imagine what that would have been like? That would have been fire.
Sheila would have been just the Morris person.
Yeah. So I love this comment from Carolee, who's saying, let's be honest, the right vocalist for most of the songs would have been Prince. Nothing against the ladies, absolutely. But they are just not on his level as vocalists. But I do think that sometimes, I don't know. I think Sheila's performance on The Glamorous Life is because Sheila has an amazing tone. And I just think that it suits her. And I know Michael and I disagree on this, but I prefer Morris E. Day's version of Gigolos Get Lonely too. I love his vocal performance. And so I do think that some of the vocalists that he chose, they did some incredible work. Like Brenda. I love Brenda's lead vocals on this album. I know some people don't, but I think it's really incredible. Like Some Kind of Lover and A Million Miles. Those are my favorite songs because of Brenda, to be honest.
I think too, it's just not a slight, I'm not sure how to say this right, but those songs always sound better with Prince because obviously he made them. He knows what these are supposed to be. And I think a lot of times he just gives these songs to people and they just follow his, enunciations and style. But I think a vocal producer or coach or something would have been able to bring out what that person's strengths are and not necessarily trying to sing it like Prince. But again, these are Prince productions, so they have to have that kind of Prince performance. I think that's one of the things that when I listen to the Jill Jones album, I love it. But the only parts that kind of take me out is when she kind of does the screaming things. And I know that that's what Prince was probably doing on the record, but I don't think they necessarily, with her voice, she could have just did some. I wish she would have allowed to do her own sort of thing and not have to follow him so close because I think she has a great voice. And I think that just kind of a lot of those records with Apollonia in them, to me, like they sound good to me, but I can still hear them doing Prince. Like I wish they could been able to add their own sort of thing, but maybe obviously that's not what Prince wanted. But because when he sings them, They always work. And yeah, I do prefer the Morris thing only because that's just what my ears were trained to hear. But the Prince version of those songs, it's fantastic. Like Gigolos. I just think the Morris's is more produced. But that's it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, for me, I don't mind. I totally understand what you're saying. It's especially when Prince laid down a vocal track, and I know for a fact, with interviews with David Z, when it came to the family, Prince wanted precise mimicking of his lead vocal by St. Paul, and I feel for St. Paul, but I thought the St. Paul did a really great job in that, and it didn't seem forced. And for me, like even with Jill, it didn't seem forced because like Jill is the only other person who can scream in key in the Prince world, in my personal opinion. But where it actually bothered me the most was when Sheila was doing Prince, I call them Prince-isms, like in Holly Rock and stuff like that. And then in some of the live performance, like there was definitely some Prince nods or, Prince instructions, or maybe she had agency and was just, just showing him that she could do it too. I don't know exactly because I don't know Sheila, obviously. So, yeah, but like, yeah, Jill might have admitted that the Prince version of All Day, All Night is better than hers, but I love Jill's version. If I had to take one to a desert island, I would take Jill's version. And let's see. Yeah, Blade Brown. That's what I'm talking about. So Blade Brown says, I always cringe when I hear Sheila mimicking the Jamie Starr voice in Crush Groove. And let's see. And Chris is saying, I think Sheila screams in key. And then Michael Daniels proved my point for the state to release in originals too. I mean, there's so many songs. There can be originals 3, 4, 5, 6. It can go on and on and on. Yes, Love Sexy. Love Sexy. I think that Sheila E.'s best vocal performance was on Hold Me, and Prince didn't have anything to do with that. And it was really, really awesome. I thought she did a really great performance on that. And okay, let's get to Ring, because we're still on Tuesday now. So we're going to go to Tuesday. Oh, before we go to Tuesday, these are some handwritten by Prince. You can actually see the order, the sequencing of the album that he was thinking about. So we have this first track listing that's in the book. Take Me With You. Next time, wipe your lipstick off your collar. I love it has Brenda Check, William Mouse, and Some Kind of Lover. Even though Some Kind of Lover is scratched out, I'm so happy that Some Kind of Lover made its way back in, because I think it's a really great song. And yeah, so you can see in Prince's own handwriting what he was thinking about for the track listing for Apollonia 6, which I think is super cool. All right, so now we are going to talk about a pretty epic day. Tuesday, February 7th, 1984. Not just God, but also Father's Song. I mean, incredible. And then we have Duane calls Lisa and Wendy's Purple Rain instrumental that's played throughout. And someone on YouTube, which I put in the accompany playlist, has stitched together all of the instrumental versions of Purple Rain played throughout the film. So that's in the accompanying film. I didn't even have to do that. I was like, YouTube is amazing. Gotta love it. And happy belated birthday to RTL 49. And let's see, Kenny saying Crush Groove is a classic, like how she went out, Bog, she bridged salsa funk and rap together. Yes. And I like this comment from Man Ray. Sheila E. never wanted to sing, even though she sung. So before she got with Prince, she actually released 2 albums with her father. And it was one was called Happy Together. It's one of my favorite albums. And so she was singing before she met Prince on 2 separate albums that she recorded in the 70s. And again, I love Sheila's tones. And if you listen to those albums in particular, the ones that she recorded with her father, it's Sheila and Pete Escovedo, or Pete and Sheila Escovedo. I can't remember in which order. Seek them out. One is called Happy Together, and the other one is Solo 2. Really fantastic records from the 70s, pre-Prince, and Sheila singing. And then Chris is saying Sheila said in her autobiography that before she worked with Prince, she made demo tapes of her singing. Yeah, like I said, she recorded albums singing. So, yep. Yep. And she worked with George Duke. She had a life before Prince and all of that. And yeah, okay. So let's get to reading about God, Father Song, and the Purple Rain instrumental, pages 258. I'll take a stab at this. Okay. So God Love Theme for Purple Rain listed as God, basic tracking. Father Song listed as Piano Jam, basic tracking. Lisa and Wendy's Purple Rain instrumental. Transferred for movie, and I'm trying to go here so you guys see me instead of that little picture. All right, and Sunset Sound Studio 2, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. booked, locked out. Producer Prince, artist Prince, engineer Prince, assistant engineer Peggy McCreary. And question: if God came to you right now and asked you to play one song of yours, what would it be? Prince, God. All right. With the Apollonia 6 album finished, Prince turned his attention to the music plan for the movie, but tonight's session was delayed for 2 hours because of a movie-related meeting. McCreary recalls that the usual flow of the sessions was being strained. There were a lot of executives from Warner Brothers, the director, and others in the studio. What a time waster. I was not involved in, and if Peggy Mac is saying, what a time waster, imagine what Prince must have felt like.
Livid.
Yeah, probably live it. You're right. I was not involved in the movie at all and didn't want to know about it. This is Peggy Mac speaking. I had enough on my plate. Duane is writing, it is likely that Prince watched an early cut of the movie that was missing some of the music because once he returned to the studio, he quickly recorded a new version of Father Song that more accurately matched the scene in the movie when his character's father plays the piano, and made a tape transfer of the version of Purple Rain for the scene in which Wendy and Lisa submitted the track to the kit that had been recorded on November 27, 1983. This music is not considered scoring. Scoring can be broadly defined as background music that helps dramatically underscore a scene and can create or embellish the mood. Music that features someone performing a song can also be considered scoring, but these, as well as the performances, are often labeled as songs and not a score. When it was complete, Prince continued in the same mode and worked on an untitled instrumental that would eventually be called God Love Theme for Purple Rain, and would consist of keyboards, guitar, piano, Sheila E. on drums, and a few sound effects like thunder and rain. Peggy Mac says, I remember this so well. As I remember it, Sheila and Prince were musically just playing with each other, sort of flirting with each other. It was midnight, and I was like, okay, can't we just leave? Can't you two just get a room? At the time, Sheila just loved to hang out with him. The stress of the movie and the rapid pace of recording an album began to take its toll on Apollonia, and she came to Prince for help because she was having difficulty sleeping. It was common for Prince to look for inspiration by sitting at the piano and just playing whatever came to mind. His engineer would record it to a cassette for him in case there was something worth building into a song or an element that could be added to an existing track. Prince apparently thought some of his piano playing would help Apollonia's insomnia, and he sat down and recorded himself running through a medley of some of his songs, including ideas for songs that he had yet to record. And I'm going to read these really slowly. We're talking about February 7th, 1984. On this cassette, Father Song, Venice de Milo, God, Raspberry Beret, You're My Love, on originals, Wednesday, Do Me Baby, and Moonbeam Levels.
He's in his bag.
He was smoking. All right.
Some stuff you ain't heard yet.
Yep. At 4:30 a.m., while Peggy mixed the instrumental that would become God, Prince wrote Papa's Song on the cassette and left to take it to Apollonia. Status: God, Love Theme from Purple Rain. 7 minutes and 53 seconds was released as the B-side of Purple Rain. On the UK 12-inch, it is listed as God Instrumental and subtitled Love Theme from Purple Rain. 2 minutes of the track can be heard at 41 minutes and 45 seconds in the movie, soon after the seduction scene when Prince plays a backward crying tape for Apollonia. Father's song replaced a previously recorded version in the Sing, featuring his father, played by Clarence Williams III, at the piano at 57 minutes and 44 seconds. And a variation of the track can be heard at 1 minute and 1:20:29 after the kids' basement tirade. I love that. All right. So just real quick, I have I'm doing this mostly from for newbies and also for me to remember what I have in my collection. So I have the UK version of the Purple Rain, and like Duane said, on the back you can see God instrumental, love theme from Purple Rain, and then you got the long version taken from the album Purple Rain, and then you have the vocal of God. This was one of my favorite 12 inches. I loved God, and particularly the God instrumental. I played this a lot in real time back in 1984. So I really appreciate that. And I'm really happy that someone else was like stunned by, yes, Venice de Milo, 1984. Crazy, 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 crazy. Yep. All right. Anything
the fact that he was at that level of piano playing that early, this is during the making of Purple Rain, is a head buster to me, because in real time, it really, when Parade came out and just the way he played piano during that period, just I was just like, whoa. But the fact that he was already on that 84, that's just wow, man.
I love this, Chris. So Chris says Purple Rain God was the first 12-inch single I bought. God was one of the few Prince songs I could play at my grandparents' house. Love that. Thank you so much.
What that song meant in my mind back then, it was so associated with the scene from the movie. I always felt like it was just I don't know, just a certain feeling when I used to play it, because I could not associate. I could always just think of like, whoa, what's going on the screen, and what was going on the screen for me at that age was like, such a, I ain't never seen nothing like that, let alone experienced it myself. So it was a part of like an awakening of, wow, this is like it's funny that the song is called God, but it was such a sexual thing in my mind, or, you know what I mean? Like, because the visual was such a strong presence, and it wasn't on the album. You had to go get the 12-inch, and it was just a special thing that I remember playing that, like, oh, this is the song. Like, oh, and the song just seems so central to me,
Yeah. And for Christina, just so you can see it, see if I can pull it up. It's basically, it says Vanity, Apollonia, Sheila E, and Wendy and Lisa. So I'm wearing it because we're talking about Apollonia and Sheila E. Would love to have Apollonia 6, like Brenda, Susan, and Apollonia. All right. So let's get to our next day, which is Wednesday. And we are transitioning to the glamorous life. All right. So let me get my reading on.
You crack me up, Celie.
What's Celie say? See, I drew that 12-inch for art class in 10th grade, and they gave me a B because he didn't like Prince. Yeah. And let's see, my late mother was in classical and jazz keyboard player. After she's seen her Prince, she draw a picture of him. Okay. And classic Prince mixing with sacred and profane. Yeah. And the tradition of those before him, like Little Richard and Ray Charles. Indeed. All right. So I'm gonna read this just because there's a lot. So if you don't mind, Michael.
Oh, you got it.
Okay. All right. So Wednesday, February 8th, 1984, Glamorous Life, Sheila E. Drum overdub. Moanin' from Purple Rain Film, aka Backwards Woman. Everybody should know what that means. If you've seen Purple Rain. All right. Sunset Sound Studio 2, 6 p.m., 2 a.m. Booked, locked out. Producer Prince, artist Prince. Apollonia 6 was scheduled but crossed out. Engineer Prince, assistant engineer Peggy Mack. All right, this is Sheila E. quote. When you're around Prince, you can't help but learn something because he's intensely into having everything just the way he wants it. You can't be around that kind of energy and not learn something. Love that quote. All right. Prince continued creating music for specific scenes in the movie. Today's music was intended for the scene in which Prince seduces Apollonia in his basement, but it was based on something he'd recorded the previous year and had played for the director of the movie. Albert Magnoli, during pre-production, Magnoli remembers, I said, I needed something really freaking scary, but really sexy. And he said, oh, I got that.
I'm sexy, but not dirty. No problem.
If I could go back in time, this is one of the moments I wish I was a fly on the wall just to hear Prince say, oh, I got that. All right. Prince would collect sounds and find new ways to use them in his recordings. I'm sorry, let me go back to my inside voice. He'd often revisit something he'd previously taped and repurpose it in a way that wasn't expected. Among the elements used in this composition were the sounds of Lisa Coleman and Jill Jones. And this is Jill speaking. He seemed to just have at a tape of me. He seemed to just have at a tape of me crying, and he put it in all these weird places, like in the movie. That is totally me. So for the longest, I mean, before probably since Prince passed did I find out that that was Jill crying. And when Purple Rain came out, I was like, who is that? I want to know who is this person. And of course it was Jill. All right. He had me and Lisa crying before an AUTO-matic from his 1999 album. At this point, the Glamorous Life had featured Lynn LM1 machine drum with no additional percussion from Sheila. During this period, it was very common for Prince's music to contain synth drums. Part of the reason was for speed, because when Prince knew what he wanted to record, he didn't want to wait to get the 10 mics placed properly on the drum kit. The other part was for space. On a mixing board that only had 24 inputs, using up almost half of them on a single instrument limits what else can be recorded. Because when you mic drums, you have to mic everything. So even on the occasions when he expanded to 48 tracks, recording live drums took up a lot of valuable real estate on the tape. But there was still another reason, according to engineer Susan Rogers. The records that Prince did, his side projects such as Sheila and the Time and stuff, had a narrower range of vision, narrower than his own records did. So he was more reluctant to use a variety of sounds on those. He wanted them to sound smaller and more contained. That was the reason that drum machines made perfect sense for them, because also Sheila was primarily percussions too. So they tape the drum machine and then add a lot of percussion on top of it. Now, I mean, I'm actually kind of happy that Prince was limited to 24 tracks at this point, because like when Love Sexy came around, he just went crazy, like in terms of the amount of tracks and stuff that he would use. And I think one of the reasons why I'm personally drawn to a lot of the songs from this era that he did for, like The Time and Apollonia 6 and Sheila, is because they do have space. You know what I mean? Like they do breathe. And that's one of the reasons why Controversy is one of my favorite albums, is my favorite Prince album, is because it has space to breathe. Like every single moment isn't filled with something. So I'm okay with this. All right. Sheila probably added her drums and percussion to the Glamorous Life during the session. It had been placed on the Apollonia 6 album as planned. Can you imagine the Glamorous Life being on Apollonia 6?
It would have been crazy.
That would have been crazy. Okay, good decision, Prince. That's all I'm going to say. It hadn't been placed on the Apollonia. Okay, and so no one was sure where it would reside. If the idea of Sheila having the entire album was in the works, no focus had been given to the project. So this track could have gone to almost anyone, including Jill Jones, who had been told that her album was in the works. 1984. That ultimately was supposed to be my record. This is Jill talking. We were doing, and I was really a little bit pissed off about that one because Sheila was just showing up at the studio just in her basketball looking clothes and whatever. And I wasn't quite wise to what that really meant, but that's what that was. And then he took her to my uncle to get her hair and her makeover, her uncle being Earl Jones, and her makeover and all this stuff. And then my project got kicked backwards because of Sheila.
She wah wah.
Yeah, that's kind of painful to read, to be honest. And I love Sheila, but I also love Jill. I don't know. He could have put out 5 albums that year. Like no one knew at this point because it was still Jamie Star, Star Company and all that. It seemed more and more obvious that Prince was enjoying the new inspiration he had found with Sheila, but it was unlikely that her vocals had been recorded for any track. Rogers noticed a change in Prince during this period. He had a great deal of affection for Sheila, a great deal, she revealed. They were not only lovers, but they were friends. He had respect and affection for her. We were friends first, Sheila confirmed in a 2012 television interview. I don't want to read all that. Okay, and then
What?
well, it's just like I want to just focus on the music
Okay.
thing. And also we're running out of time. And let's see, it says a FedEx bill was presented by February 8th and 9th, 1984. So it is likely that Prince was planning to travel back to Minneapolis soon after, may have shipped some of his music to Minneapolis in case he wanted to record while there. There wasn't any real concept to where things were recorded. It was a matter of convenience, explained Alan Leeds. You can't really make any rhyme or reason. And by the same token, because of overdubbing and so on, you could work 5 days on one tape in 5 locations. Just take the tape with you. And he would do that. He'd say, I've got to go to LA for a week and pack up a box of tapes. And he'd give us a list of tapes that he wanted to take with him, meaning that if I get the urge, I'm going to find a studio and go work on these songs. And he may come back with tapes as is. They may go with him and he never opens the box. Or he may end up going in the studio and working on some of them and starting 10 new songs or whatever. Anything. All right. I love this comment from Mila. Oh, Sheila. Yes, indeed. Oh, Sheila. Yeah, I love it. Yes. I love when the kid says this in Purple Rain. She's crying. It's played backwards. And I love when Apollonia says something like, "You are you King Kong or whatever?" You remember that part? And he goes, "Stop." Yeah. Let's see. Okay. All right. So let's keep going and try to make some time. So next up is Mo Glamorous Life that Michael Dean is going to read about on page 262.
All right. Thursday, February 9th, 1984. The Glamorous Life Mix. Sunset Sound, Studio 2, 6:30 p.m. to 2 a.m. Producer Prince, artist Prince, engineer Prince, assistant engineer Peggy Mack, McQuarrie. Quote from Susan Rogers: I think that The Glamorous Life is wonderful. I think it is one of Prince's best and catchiest songs. Someone told me once, have you ever noticed when you walk through a music store, when you go through the keyboard department, it doesn't take long before somebody starts to go, da, 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 da. What a catchy rhythm that is, Susan Rogers. Prince spent 5.5 hours mixing The Glamorous Life and the remainder of the session editing it. Shall I continue? Friday, February 10th, 1984, The Belle of St. Mark, basic tracking, Prince vocals, Sunset Sound, Studio 2, assumed. And again, producer Prince, artist unclear. Engineer Prince assumed, assistant engineer Peggy Mack, McCurry, or Bill Jackson assumed. This is a quote from Des Dickerson. One of Prince's chief strengths was his ability to observe, assimilate, and then reinterpret recording techniques. He was also observing and assimilating songwriting techniques and stuff that was freely happening inside the band. And all of that influenced him, and he became a shape shifter. He became great at assimilating these techniques and reinterpreting them in a way people didn't recognize. And that became the genius of Prince. The spring of 1984 was the busiest time in Prince's recording career to date. And at least when considering the scope of his projects, he was creating music for himself, Apollonia 6, and The Time, as well as composing music for the soundtrack to his movie. He was under strict deadlines for all of these projects. But that didn't keep him from being inspired to record something outside these projects. Prince always followed his instincts, according to Steve Fargnoli, his manager during this period. That's just how he is. I've never seen an artist totally consumed to the level of Prince. It pretty much excludes everything else. He has very little to say about what he's doing other than what's in his music, but he has a clear perception of what he's done and what he wants to be. According to many people who spent time with Prince, he was addicted to the creative process. He was constantly looking for something that wasn't familiar to keep him interested. In retrospect, adding Sheila to the mix made complete sense. To keep from becoming bored with one long project and all the arterial side projects, he probably felt an internal desire to expand beyond what was expected. Prince demanded that those around him step up to the plate, which meant leading by example. But once again, Prince needed to continually feed the machine. He was seeking inspiration, and at times that came from within his camp. For the Belle of St. Mark, Prince consciously or unconsciously took a part of a song Jesse Johnson had written and made it into his own. Johnson had submitted many tracks to Prince, but only on rare occasion, The Bird and Jungle Love for the time and Bite the Beat for Vanity 6, for example, were they used. Johnson was in Minneapolis at the time and didn't participate in the session. Prince recorded his own voice on the demo for this track, and according to Sheila, she helped create the track. In her 2014 autobiography, she stated that when she penned the lyrics, she wrote about Prince. Status: Prince's vocals were replaced by Sheila E. during a later session. The Belle of St. Mark, 5 minutes and 30 seconds, was faded early. 5 minutes and 3 seconds with 5 seconds of sound effects was released on the Glamorous Live album. An additional edit of the song, 3 minutes and 38 seconds, was the album's second single. A dance remix, 7 minutes and 42 seconds, was also released. The bell toll sound effect at the beginning of the track, it was either Big Ben Strikes 12 from the Authentic Sound Effects Library Volume 2 or Big Ben Strikes Midnight from the Authentic Sound Effects Library Volume 4 was likely added on a later date. No work order could be located for this session, but the vault at Warner Brothers verified that the Belle of St. Mark was recorded on this date. It should be noted that there is evidence that Prince may have traveled to Minneapolis for the weekend of February 10 through 12, and if this is the case, the sessions lasted for today and tomorrow were either recorded in Minneapolis or on another date in Los Angeles. And it's actually the page.
Yeah, skip all that and go to the bottom where it says the plan was to have a continuation.
The plan was to have a continuation of the previous tour with Apollonia 6 replacing Vanity 6 as the opening act. The Time would perform their own set, but would once again be responsible for playing behind the curtain for the girl group. This is a quote. It says, "They were talking to us about how we're going to back up Apollonia 6 behind the curtains," recalls Hubbard. I'll never forget Prince came up to me with an Apollonia 6 song and he says, "Can you play that?" And it was Sex Shooter. And I said, "Yeah, I could play that." And he says, "Okay." The whole movie thing was going to go on tour, which would have been crazy.
And you know why that didn't happen?
Unfortunately, man, that would have been nuts.
That would have been nuts.
I mean, Purple Rain tour was already spectacular, but if all of them, I guess it would have been a triple threat too or something like that. And,
yeah. Oh, that would have been, it would have been crazy. I really wish that Morris hadn't left the fold at that point. I wish you would have just seen the Purple Rain tour through and then left, but obviously, he had his reasons, and but that would have been really killer for sure.
Which it makes me wonder why not, even though Morris and them didn't do it. I wonder why he didn't have Apollonia 6 perform.
I don't know, because they were there.
Yeah,
they were on tour with him because he would bring them out like during "Baby I'm a Star."
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's a really interesting. But I tell you what, Sheila E. opening with him
Oh, she can.
was killing it, especially with those laser drumsticks. I had never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, her little see-through lace thing. Am I supposed to be looking at this?
And she was bringing the guys up on the stage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's right. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh, right.
Sheila took her spot.
All right. We got Duane in the chat. Hi, Duane. Thanks for joining us. Let's see what Duane is talking about today. After he recorded full albums for Sheila, The Time, Apollonia 6, and Purple Rain, Prince could have coasted the rest of the year, but he ended up releasing a movie, recording an album for the family, and he performed on an amazingly successful tour. Who does that? Prince. That's who. Thank you so much, Duane, for that. Yeah. And I love this comment from SMS 130. The Purple Rain tour could have easily been turned into the 1999 tour on steroids. Again, triple threat times 2. It totally would have been.
They would have had Billy come out at the beginning. You better kick ass tonight around, so y'all ready? I'll be like, this is a business.
This is a business.
Like he would have had Billy host the whole. Okay, Morris, that was cool. That was cool. Now y'all ready for Prince? Where Lisa?
Oh my God, Michael D. You're on fire today. I love all of these possibilities. Billy would have been fire.
That would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been so great.
Tell him I'm rehearsing. Jilly beloved.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So I think we're finally at Saturday. I can't believe we got here. And I'm going to read on this one. So we're going to go to page 265, if I can see correctly. That's right. Okay. Here we go. Let's do it. One of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah.
I remember exactly where I was when I heard this song for the first time. I was like, Prince is amazing. All right. Shortberry, Strawcake, basic tracking. Sunset Sound Studio 2, Assume. Producer Prince, artist unclear. Love that. Engineer Prince, assistant engineer Peggy McCreary, or Bill Jackson, assumed. This is a Sheila E. quote. A lot of people say I'm a girl version of Prince because we're so much alike. We like a lot of the same music, the same clothes, some of the same musicians, and the same foods, especially spaghetti. Now, one thing we got to say about Sheila's actually pretty critical for Prince moving forward with the live bands. Like she was just
absolutely
giving people out of her band to Prince. Like Levi was in Sheila's band, you know, so Sheila is actually pretty critical.
She was the plug.
Yeah. I love that. Sheila was the plug. You're absolutely right. All right. Okay, here we go. Inside voice. Prince continued his internal battle between the long-term plans involved with the Purple Rain project and his short-term plans in the studio. When Prince was inspired, he generally recorded what he was feeling at the time, and he rarely seemed concerned with morality or boundaries. And I'm not going to read that. We're going to keep going down just to save some time. We're going to go to the next page and start at the top. Engineer Bill Jackson was often alone in the room with Prince, but even Jackson wasn't sure where these new tracks would be placed. And this is Bill Jackson. At the moment that we were recording all of Sheila's tunes, it didn't seem like it was going to be for her. She was there a lot. She could have helped write some of it, and then later on, they got to work with them for her albums. Like other work with Sheila, Shortberry Strawcake started as a jam based around a steady drum beat. There was a subtle, funky keyboard riff that sounds almost buried, especially when compared to the repeated main riff that begins at 1 minute and 5 seconds. The rest of the song was Prince jamming on keyboards and guitar above the bed of drums, with Sheila eventually filling it in with percussion and additional drums. Lyrics were written and put to tape, probably through one of Prince's guitar effect pedals to give his voice extra distortion. That's my favorite part of the track, are those vocal through the pedal. The track also included Prince singing about a dream he had based on his lover. Ultimately, the decision was made to keep the song as an instrumental, and Prince's voice was placed backward in the song, hiding the romantic theme but giving the song a more sensual vibe. Prince had done this earlier in the week while working on music for the Purple Rain movie, so the technique was still fresh in his head. Now I want to hear the forward vocals for Shortberry and Strawcake. Can you imagine, Michael?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm so excited. Even the title Shortberry Strawcake is a slight acknowledgement of the different parts of the track going in multiple directions. You know, I just figured that out. Thank you, Duane. Even though I read this, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Prince had borrowed part of a song from Jesse Johnson for the Belle of St. Mark on the previous day. So soon after returning to Los Angeles, he reached out to Johnson and offered him a songwriting credit, but not in the usual manner. Johnson was recording with Susan Rogers in Prince's home studio in Minneapolis, and Rogers recalled what happened during the phone call. Prince asked Jesse if it was okay that he gave Jesse writing credit on one of Sheila's songs. Jesse said, okay, I guess so. What's the name of the song? Prince said, Shortberry Strawcake, bye-bye. We didn't think any more about it until the record came out. The song, The Belle of St. Mark, is basically a rhythm track from one of Jesse's songs. So Jesse gets credit for songwriting, but it is not for the song he wrote. Very weird. And Jesse was very offended, and he played me the cassette of his song, and I had to agree with him. It was The Belle of St. Mark.
Interesting.
But Prince did this a lot, throughout, just giving credit to folks that didn't write the song and not giving credit to folks who wrote parts of that happened a lot, unfortunately, and I feel for Jesse. All right. Elements of this song turned up in the guitar work on You Just Can't Stop, an instrumental by The Flesh. A jazz-based side project Prince would create in late 1985 that included Sheila E. on drums/percussion and Levi. I just gotta say that. And Eric Leeds. Okay. Status Shortberry Strawcake. 6 minutes and 26 seconds was edited. Oh, this is painful. To 4 minutes and 44 seconds. I want those almost 2 minutes. And released on Sheila's The Glamorous Life album. The longer version remains unreleased. Tears. Okay.
Let's get the re-released Glamorous Life special edition. It could be just digital and put that on there, man.
Yeah, that would be fire, fire, fire. All right. See February 10th, 1984. Note regarding the uncertainty regarding where and when this was recorded. No documentation for February 12th, 1984 has been located, so it is unclear whether Prince spent any time in the studio. It is possible that he was still out of town or traveling back to Los Angeles the following morning. And we are done with What Did Prince Do This Week? Week 4. Okay. So, we're still doing good. I can't believe it's just 1 minute. So we got some more stuff we want to talk about. And let's see what Chris is talking about. Prince's vocals in Shortberry Strawcake. Yes, bring Roger Troutman and Zapp to mind. That is absolutely correct. Love that. And okay, so let's go try to keep this tight in 2 minutes. So this is, if you go to either the slideshow on the homepage of the book club, or if you go to my YouTube channel, go all the way to the bottom to the accompanying playlist. This is in the playlist for this week. You got to hear this 2022, read the date, 2022 version of Shortberry Strawcake and Oliver's House, but I'm talking about Shortberry Strawcake. It is on fire. The guy behind her is holding down the bass. I don't know the bass player. If anybody knows who's Sheila's bass player from this Amsterdam gig in 2022, he's on fire. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And another thing that I put in the accompanying playlist is someone has been posting pretty high-res versions of Sheila's full concerts from 1984 on YouTube. Really? Yeah, and so you can hear the 1984 version of Shortberry Strawcake. It's in the same playlist, so I hope you guys are taking advantage of the playlist. And it's just interesting to hear the 1984 live version of Shortberry Strawcake, which, Michael, she starts the show off with. She starts her set with Shortberry Strawcake. Mean. Like, just go out there on fire. That's what I'm talking about. And so it's just really interesting to hear the difference. I actually prefer the 2022 version live. So check it out, Michael, because I would really love to hear what you think. But I mean, obviously they're both on fire because the song is just amazing. But I really love this 2022 version. So whoever posted this, 3121 Las Vegas, you're amazing. Thank you. Okay.
Real quick, I'm not talking about that. just listening as we're talking about Sheila and stuff. I mean, and we always talk about Sheila, and there's a kind of a thing about Sheila in the community sometimes. But I mean, man, if you just step back and look at Sheila E., what she has contributed to just music and this whole thing, like ain't nobody really fucking with Sheila E., man. Like who's the Sheila E. of today? Like Sheila is incredible, man. She's an accomplished musician. She worked with one of the best, if not one of the best artists of all time. Created classic stuff. She's still performing to this day, and she's singing, but they playing and it's jamming. Like no one's doing that. Like, and she's she could have be retired. She's still cutting up. I thought Sheila E. is amazing.
She's amazing.
She is amazing. We can't be front like.
So
yeah, she's amazing.
So like for the Purple Rain tour, Michael, like I actually remember I saw that tour in real time. I don't remember Prince's set. You know who I remember? Sheila E.'s. Like Sheila E. was like my idol back then because she was she was a female. She was playing the drums, which was a male dominated industry, and she was playing them very, very well. Like I said, I love the tone. The Glamorous live video. Like, I don't know if you remember, like I got my hair cut in layers. I thought like she was just stunningly beautiful and she could just hold her own. And then when I found out about her musical discography, playing with Marvin Gaye, playing with George Duke, and recording albums with her father in the 70s, like
you find out later she playing percussion with Michael on George Duke, or somebody said, yeah, she's killing him, man.
Yeah, you can't sleep on you. And I always say you can say whatever you want about Sheila, but you cannot take away her musicianship. You cannot, because it's amazing. So yeah, you gotta respect it.
Like, and then movie, she say what you want, Crush Groove. I mean, she made a transition. She got involved with hip hop and did her best with that. And yeah, man, she was cold.
Yeah.
And then was humble enough to be like, you know what? I just want to go play drums. I want to be with my brother.
Yep.
And take that position and held that down. Like, whew.
Yep. And I love this comment from Mr. Oshun. Welcome. Thank you so much. One of my favorite things is I wish they would release it properly, like on Blu-ray. I only have it on VHS. Is Latina Familia, which is Sheila E. with her father, but also Tito Puente. And so like seeing all three of them play together is like incredible. So it came out on Laserdisc at one point, but it would be really great if it would come out on Blu-ray. I would always wanted that on Blu-ray and it never has. Monair is saying Sheila told me she did work on Credited with Weather Report before Prince. Oh wow, I didn't know that. You have to tell me, Monair, about that. Oh, and I remember you wrote, I did meet Sheila back in 1991. I actually gave her a portrait that I painted of her. And I told her, I was like, if you are going to trash it, just sign it and give it back to me. But if you want this, you can have it. And she took it. I don't know, obviously, if she still has it, I don't know. But that was my first time that, and only time that I actually had an opportunity to talk to her. And she was really amazing, obviously, and she was in Atlanta on some local TV station, and my then boyfriend, now husband, found out about it, and we got to that news station and we were able to see the taping and everything. So it was really, really a special moment, a memory I'll never forget. And let's see, Law says she was already for musicianship upbringing, but when she did Crush Groove, it tripled for me as a hip hop baby. Love that. Yeah. And I already put this on here, but I cannot stress this enough. If you can see Latina Familia, I think someone has put it on YouTube. It's not in the best quality. You got to watch it. It's like one of my favorite conga solos that Sheila's ever done. And also her brothers are there, and it's a really amazing show. And the DJ is saying the Escovedo family recently got honored in Oaktown. That is so amazing. And Sheila's father is still kicking it, still playing. You gotta love it.
Rich heritage.
Yes.
All that.
Yes. Because her father played with Santana and like all sorts of crazy stuff. Okay, so I forgot to change it. It should say week 6, so my apologies. I missed that. So the week 6, we got 19 songs so far in 1984. We got 19 songs total from Prince and 36 studio visits total so far. And you can see all of the songs that were tracked. Some things I kind of left out, but so this week, Ooh Shisha Wow Wow was new, God, Father Song, the Belle of St. Mark. I didn't include the instrumental Purple Rain because Purple Rain is based on Purple Rain. And then the Belle of St. Mark and Shortberry Strawcake. And I want to take a really quick music break because we've already talked about this. Andre 3000 is on tour. Most of these, if not all of these, are already sold out. But I'm just saying, if you have a ticket, go see it. It is definitely worth it. I was able to see him on Tuesday at the St. Anne and Holy Trinity Church. We weren't able to take photos, but someone who was on his team posted some, so you can kind of see a little bit of the church. The church was amazing. The sound was amazing in this church. And you can kind of see like how cavernous the church is, but just Google St. Anne and the Holy Trinity Church just to see how incredible the space was. But it was an amazing show. And he said this at the show, and this is actually from the Outkast reunion tour back in 2014, Have You Stopped Growing? And one of the things that he talked about was, continuing to grow. So it reminded me of this. And then when I saw this, I saw Children of the Cornbread, which is really important to me because I'm a Southerner. Andre's a Southerner, and I don't know if Celi's still here, probably not, but I wanted to show this for Celi, Children of the Cornbread. Love that. And let's get into the purple world because a lot happened, and I want to try to do this in 5 minutes or less. So the celebration dates have been released, June 20 to 24. I personally wish that the dates would have been kept around Prince's birthday because I celebrate Prince's birthday. And I know Prince didn't celebrate his birthday, but even when he was alive, I celebrated his birthday. And I was grateful when they moved celebration from April to June because I think it's better to celebrate life than celebrate death. That's my personal opinion. So how do you feel, Michael, about the changing of the dates from around birthday to this new date?
Personally, doesn't. I don't feel either way about it. I do understand why people do have that feeling. I can understand the logic of that, but they're gonna do what they do.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to see what was going to be offered. Who's going to be there, or what do they have planned for this?
Yeah. It's just that I know a lot. I mean, I actually held out on buying, normally I would have already bought like my plane ticket and reserved my hotel because sometimes they sell out, but like I wasn't sure, so I didn't. But I know a lot of people had already made their plans and they were kind of betting on it. So I do feel for them, but obviously most airlines now you can change your reservations and all of that.
Only thing I would say is, and this is the same thing we always say every year, better communication. I think is always the best. This is not this is a expensive trip for people, and you really got to plan for it. So I just think that as much communication as they can provide people is the best thing for stuff like this. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and then KMS 1984. Thank you so much for pointing this out. And they have added an extra day, which is cool. Right. So it's going to be 5 days. So that should be really exciting. And also announced this past week that there will be a premiere of the Purple Rain musical in Minneapolis in spring of 2025 before moving to Broadway, which is kind of cool. I think that's really cool that if they're going to premiere it, that it's being premiered in Minneapolis before Broadway. And
some interesting casting call choices. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Oh, I don't know. What's the casting calls?
Somehow it got out kind of what they're looking for each role.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it in front of me, but I know it was I was tripping at first when I read it because it was like Prince, person of color, and then age, and you got to be able to play, blah 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 blah. And then it was like Morris Day, black, 25, da da da. And at first I was like, person of color, but it doesn't say Prince, person of color. It says the kid. And I suppose if you're going by the movie, one could argue that the kid was biracial. So it is what it is.
Yeah. So Zakia saying there's a Rick James musical. I'm not aware of a Rick James.
I saw that. Yeah, it's on tour too.
Like, it's on tour. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Zakia. I didn't know about that. And then Purple Cat Confetti. I didn't know about this. We're getting all sorts of info. Got an email from Lyft that they're going to increase prices at double cost. This is actually really important because a lot of people stay in Minneapolis and actually take an Uber or a Lyft to Paisley Park, and it's not a hop and a skip. It's a bit of a ways.
Well, don't they have shuttle? Haven't they done shuttles in the
past?
If
you're at the right hotels.
Oh.
There's usually and the number of hotels that the shuttles they used when I call it post Prince celebrations first started. There were like 4 or 5 hotels that had the shuttles, but last year I think it was just one, and it might have been even the previous year also might have just been one from one hotel. So yeah. Okay.
A lot of things are going up in price though, but yeah, it does kind of suck that the Lyft is going.
But you have to take that in consideration, based on where you end up staying. All right, so a lot of Prince-related stuff happened on the Grammys. I wanted to give Sheila her props because if you watch the Grammys or watch the clips afterwards, she was incredible. There was a really great version of Let's Go Crazy that she came out on. And I thought they did a really great job. And obviously, I thought it was great that they did Let's Go Crazy because this is the year of Purple Rain. And they could have chosen Purple Rain, but I love that they actually went to.
Who was singing the song, or was it Sheila?
No, it's not Sheila. It's actually. Give me 1 second. Let me hold on 1 second. It is Larkin. I think it's Larkin Poe and Mo. So let me actually share my screen because I didn't know a lot of people contributed to the song in different parts of the song.
Okay.
So hold on 1 second. Let me share this tab instead.
For some reason, I thought that was Jody Wiley for a second.
No, that was Sheila. Sheila comes out at the end and plays on it, but it starts off with this vocal group called Pentatonics. And then Jay Ivy, then Jordan Sparks sings a little bit. She does really great. I love Jordan Sparks. And then Larkin Poe are this group. There are 2 guitarists, and I thought they did a really great job. So Kim, you're right. The blues guitar duo was nice. Larkin Poe is definitely Larkin Poe. I thought they did a really great job. And let's see. Michelle said this would be a Purple Rain themed celebration, likely the Revolution headlining. I'll leave it there. I just need a confirmed lineup. And Jay Ivy is from Chicago, and Kim is saying Jay Ivy did the spoken word part, and Celia is saying I love Pentatonics, and Tanya's saying the pre-show is always the best part of the Grammys, and and Jordan Sparks was really fantastic. Let me go back to because we're not done because Grammys was almost like it was a lot of Prince. So Whitney and Lisa were there with Annie Lennox singing Nothing Compares to You. I was so happy to see Whitney and Lisa. And I love Annie Lennox. And I think she has an amazing voice, but she was not the vocalist for this song.
Really?
If you go to the slideshow and you click on it, it will take you to the videos. And you can actually see the performances. And I really wish, to be honest, that St. Paul could have sung it because, like, St. Paul doesn't really get the credit. The family's version just doesn't get talked about. And I think it would have been nice to have. And I know why they chose Annie Lennox. She has more visibility than St. Paul, but I think that's one of the reasons why St. Paul would have been cool to have him sing it.
That would have actually been, at first I was like, huh, but now that you say that, yeah, they would have been like, here's the person who originally, was released. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, I thought it would have been really cool because I personally, I mean, kind of going back to one of our previous conversations, my favorite version of Nothing Compares to You is actually St. Paul's version. And yes, I know his own version and all that.
The only version.
Yeah, so I think he does an amazing job, and it would have been great for the world to see St. Paul, so that's just me. And then we also had Jammin' Lewis with Ann Nesby singing Optimistic, which is my favorite Sounds of Blackness song, accompanied by John Batiste. And I don't know if you guys heard, but he wouldn't say sky, he would say stars. And I'm trying to figure out, was he doing that on purpose or did he not know the song? You can win as long as you keep your head to the sky. But he was saying you can win as long as you keep your head to the stars. So I was trying to figure out, like, was he trying to say we need to expand and go beyond the sky to the stars, or if he just didn't know? If I ever meet him, that would be the first question that I asked. And it was great seeing Jammin' Lewis on stage with Ann Nesby. I love that they brought out Ann Nesby. So like, it would have been great, like if they had to have Annie Lennox, like they could have had St. Paul, actually, because it is a duet, because it's St. Paul and Susanna. So they could have had St. Paul and Annie Lennox if they wanted to. But it would have been cool to have Susanna there as well.
Modern said having Eric solo booth, that would have been cool to add.
Yeah, that would have been so amazing. And then Kim saying John Batiste was not. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I understand. And yes, definitely superb. I'm just curious about that one line. Yes. All right. That's what I was thinking. Maybe that's what John was trying to say, like, to expand our concept. And Mila says, Nothing Compares to You will always be a Rosie Gaines song to me. And yes, I know the tribute was for Sinead, but is there any ties of Annie Lennox to Sinead? I'm not aware of any, but is it, so that's just me. All right, and then in addition to Jammin' Lewis, Joni Mitchell. If I read this correctly, someone correct me if I'm wrong, this is her first time performing at the Grammys ever, which is crazy if that's the case. Can someone confirm that? And I just want to remind everyone, this is the reason why I think this is crazy. Of all the songs that Joni could have performed, she actually performed Both Sides Now from her 1969 album, Clouds. And if you've never heard this song, you should listen to it if you're a Prince fan, because the first verse goes, Rose and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air. So we all know that Prince is a Joni Mitchell fan. And so I'm sure that is where he got Ice Cream Castle for the Times Cream Castle from. And glad to see. And see, Martin said, I think she's saying Joni the same song at the Grammys in 1969. Okay, is that correct? Is that she's... Yeah, no, but Tanya's saying this was her first time. But then Modern Era is saying 1969. Could someone confirm or deny?
Damn, 1969 was the year I was born.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
A long time ago.
Yeah, I was born in 1970, so I was right behind you. And this isn't Prince related, but I love me some Tina Turner. And I was so happy that they did a Tina Turner tribute, and Fantasia knocked it out of the park with her version of Proud Mary. It was mad energy, but I really loved Fantasia's vocal performance. Whoever decided to have Fantasia sing this song is a genius. So I want to thank whoever made that decision, because it was the right decision. Really, really good. All right, for those of you who are local, Under the Cherry Moon is playing tomorrow. I'm going because I just want to support, vote with our dollars. that Under the Cherry Moon is a legit film that should be seen. It's playing at the Museum of the Moving Image in Queens. And if you can't make it tomorrow, there's also another screening on Sunday. And they're actually a screening today, but I can't find the tickets. I don't know if it's sold out or not, but they're screening Under the Cherry Moon. So I thought that was extremely cool. And just want to remind everyone that we got a symposium coming up. I'm going to get the graphics very soon, hopefully. And April 12th through 14th, we are also doing a virtual symposium for Come. I still need to make my Come button. August 10th through 11th. And then we are going to continue to talk about diamonds and pearls as we did at the beginning of this session. I didn't really, I was kind of surprised by that. So thank you for that, Simon Stone. And then this is the playlist that I'm telling you about. So you got, actually there's technically not a video of Ooh She Chihuahua, but remember there was that Apollonia 6 film. So someone cut out the Ooh Chihuahua part from the Apollonia 6 film. So you can watch that if you haven't seen it. It's not the best quality, but it's better than nothing. You can also see that you can listen to that cover of Ooh She Chihuahua, which is actually a really great cover by this group called Snacks. And then there's the full album of Apollonia 6 on there, and God, and there's tons and tons of songs on there. And let's see, Tanja is saying, from the Grammys page, the highly decorated Grammy veteran made her first appearance as a performer at music's biggest night, performing both sides now at the 2024 Grammys. Thank you, Tanja. That's what I thought I had read. And then Chris is saying, I look forward to hearing about the Under Cherry Moon screening. I wonder if it'd be a talk back to the screen event. Or said, I posted it in the New York, New Jersey Prince fan group. So I'm hoping it's going to be more of a talk back, but we will see. And I love seeing this, Mila. I'm excited to talk about Diamonds and Pearls, the box set, a year later. So I'm actually looking forward to that. And today is the day for my playlist. All right, so I actually want to end today, but before we do, we need to talk about what we're reading next week. For week 7 of What Did Prince Do This Week, we're reading 3 pages, so we're going to get a break. It was a lot of reading this week, and it's only 3 pages next week, so that's a little bit more doable. And we do, someone's got Brother Dean. What's next on Podcast Juice?
Toya Gaines.
All right.
There you go.
And do you want to take us out? I'm going to play some music, but we're leaving after, but we're going to play some music for you. But how you want to take us out, Michael Dean?
I guess it depends on what you're playing, but if you haven't already done it, please like this video, share this video, subscribe to this video, and have a great weekend.
Work you like a job. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.
God bless Susan and Brenda and my rabbit Smokey. Oh, and God, please bless all the people on Neptune. Amen.
Apollonia.